Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Self-Love Show. It is with my great honor and gratitude. Here we are, closing out the year 2020 in this powerful day, the 31st. Wow, so deeply honored of this year. And I really have a special guest today. We have a special guest today, our beautiful sister here that I'm going to introduce. And we're coming out of one of the most difficult years in modern history. Every year at New Year, the people of the world look forward to having a blank slate from which to create our lives. But this year, it's different. There's another level of intensity and gravitas to the way we're approaching this new year. It's especially important at a time like this to play in making a positive change in our lives. Regardless of the drama and hysteria the world throws at us, one way to leverage ourselves so we can bring our best selves to our lives is by leaning on the enormous power of our dreams and our dreaming mind to help us navigate our way in 2021 in the most optimal way. So it's scientifically proven that our dreams contain the coding of our higher intelligence, guidance, and ability to know, not just survive, but thrive. And as we emerge from this pandemic to counteract the hopelessness and victimization so many people feel, dream expert Sullivan Walden will show us how to take advantage of our natural resources, our inheritance that most of us take for granted. Our dreams and our dreaming mind are giving us clues as to how to not just find our way through this important time, but to fall in love our lives and this process. We say goodbye to 2020 and initiate 2021. So beautiful Kelly Sullivan Walden is here with us today, and she's on a mission to awaken the world to the power of our dreams. Wow, I'm so honored to have you here. And she's a best-selling author of 6 dream books and 4 oracle decks. She's a certified clinical hypnotherapist who specializes in helping people access their dreaming minds to achieve their personal and professional goals. And mostly recently, she's the author of Amazon's best-selling Awaken Dreamer Oracle cards. So as the show goes on, we'll put her links in the box for you to be able to contact her and access her sacred information through everything she's built. And Kelly empowers dreamers to wake up to their ability to access the love, beauty, wisdom, and soul-fulfilling splendor, even in a pandemic. So thank you for this beautiful introduction, Kelly. We are so honored to have you, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to read that exquisite introduction of yours. And thank you, Trish, for the sacred honor of the Self-Love
I love the jazz
shows.
hands.
Jazz hands.
I'm so honored to be with you both. I feel such a sisterhood. And Dawn, I'm so grateful I got to meet you in person a few months ago. And I have this little mermaid behind me that represents Gypsy. So she was the one who brought me to you. And so I think she's really happy right now and swimming around in the heavenly realms, blessing this show. And Trish, it's wonderful to connect with you. I know that you and Dawn are soul sisters from eons, and I feel deeply honored to be connected with you and your audience, and and just to see wherever we go, I'm putting my arms in the air, wave them like I just don't care. I do care, but I'm open. I'm
we really, really care.
Yeah. Oh, wave them like I really, really care. Right.
Yes. So let's dive in.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about your work. Yeah.
Oh Lord. Okay. There's a million ways I can get into that. I think at this moment, what is most on my heart is dream work. To me is very much about integrating. A lot of it is shadow work, honestly, because most people don't seek somebody like me out for professional work if they're having a million happy dreams. So my work kind of starts at a place of meeting people where they're in pain, where they're having nightmares, where there's some repressed or suppressed energy that is in their life that they haven't yet figured out how to harness or how to love. So I love that this show is about self-love. And I I feel like that's kind of the nature of what I do. It's via dreams. Like dreams are sort of my tarot cards or my yoga. It's my way of being able to help a person navigate how to best love themselves, and not just in the theoretical sense of loving themselves, but I think our dreams serve up every day, every night. What's our curriculum for the day? What pieces are left out? Anything that's chasing us? A lot of, like, right now in this unprecedented time, the whole world is dreaming more vividly than it ever has. There's so many people all over social media talking about these wild dreams they're having, and a lot of it is sparked by the pandemic. And this is the first time we've ever been in a world crisis. And at the same time, that's really tragic and horrible. And I don't want to minimize that. But it also brings us into a place of unity. And with regards to the dreams, a lot of the dreams, there's some common themes that people are dreaming. Not only are we all dreaming vividly, but a lot of people are really dreaming about things chasing them, whatever the virus represents to them. Also, a lot of dreams about the kind of the electric shock effect of what happens if you hug people, and us trying to adapt to this strange world at this strange time. But so my work is really like an alchemist. I'm a natural optimist, but I don't think I'm like, overly Pollyanna. I feel like a practical optimist where I can find the gold even in the most horrific dreams. I say, bring me your dead, bring me the scary things, and I will shine some light and with you to help you discover what is to love, and to find the gold in that heap of poo, and wash off the poo and take that gold and run with it. Are you guys able to hear me? Because I know there's a little glitchiness going on. I don't know if it's just on my side.
It is a little like there are some internet connectivity issues today.
Wow.
And
there's this little thing shining in my eye. It's this little crystal that's like wanting to, I'm just going to say it's Gypsy. That's like wanting to kind of hover around here. So get out of my eye, Gypsy.
So yeah, I mean, we're listening to you. There were about, over 7 years ago, I had multiple traumatic experiences where I was taken advantage of by a friend in a really intimate, vulnerable way. And then left in the cold to find my own way back home. And I have nightmares about it repeatedly. And the only thing that really had helped me was a wonderful hypnotherapist named Doreen Blumenfeld, who lives in Willits. And I saw her many times, actually. And she was the first person to help me sort of calm the secular patterning and the fear in my brain. And of course it was layers of safety that I was actually really moving forward into getting more clear there. And I love that you're a hypnotherapist that's really connected to the heart center. Yeah. I'm hearing that.
Oh, well, first of all, thank you for sharing that. And I'm so sorry that happened to you. And I affirm that there's kind of an initiation that many of us, we got to go through. And some of us have done it in other lives, so we don't have to do it in this life. And sometimes I think we go through these things in order to, it's like that Joseph Campbell quote. It's like the cave that we most fear to enter is where our treasures lie. So there's so much compassion and empathy and depth and wisdom that can come from the healing of these things that we would never consciously wish on ourselves or anyone. But I think one of the things that I work with a lot of people that have had traumatic things happen in their waking life, and then they dream about it. And some people have wished their dreams away because they felt like their dreams were just adding insult to injury. So I help them to reconnect with their dreams. And sometimes, like in my own story, I had a dream drought for a long time because I didn't want to dream. I was dreaming so many horrible dreams, being chased by people constantly, and always feeling like waking up, barely able to breathe. And I didn't want to have those dreams. So I kind of pushed them away. But when I finally got my dreams back, they came back with a gusto, with like, I had a therapist back in my early years, let's say like almost 20 years ago, over 20 years ago, who said to me that a nightmare is an unfinished dream. And she said, you're the one you're the director of your dream. So how would you like to finish this dream? And even though I think my dreams also related to issues that I had been in, where I was being chased or attacked, or so many of those situations, like, more than one, but on the level of the dream, it's kind of like there's an ability to suspend disbelief. Like when you go into a movie that's like sci-fi or something, there's some part of our mind that can go to another place, then we can go in ordinary waking reality. So on the level of dreams, I thought, wow, how would I change these dreams? What would I do if I was in charge? And that conversation actually changed my life. The ability, there was one dream in particular where there was a very scary man that was trying to shut me up in my dream. And he was telling me to put saran wrap over this little girl part of myself, like this, put saran wrap, make her small, put saran wrap over her and stick her in a drawer. So I was doing everything he said because it was like, I have to do what the mean man says. And then all of a sudden I was like, in my redirected dream, I was like, I don't know if I can cuss on this, but I was like, F that. And I like unwrap this little girl and she starts wailing and screaming, and I carry her and I'm like, whatever, dude. And I like walk out with this little girl intact. And I realize she's mine to take care of. She's mine to protect. So in a dream where someone's chasing you, you can also like imagine that you're, for example, pressing the pause button and you see them for who they are. They take off the mask, kind of like in Scooby-Doo, how there's all these masks that they're wearing, and they come down to this quivering little thing that's like, I really just love you. I really am just scared of you. Or I really just want you to know how powerful you are. Usually there's a gift in disguise if we stop and face them. I always say that fear stands for face, embrace, ace, and replace. So that's kind of my system for being able to go in and work on those PTSD kind of dreams. So, if I was going to ask you, if you like right off the top, I don't know if you feel like going here, but imagining that you're having a dream that's reliving what happened to you. If you knew that you could be lucid in the dream, what would you do differently? What would happen to get you empowered?
Oh yeah. Well, actually I have worked through those ones.
Awesome.
I'm a very, very vivid dreamer. And I'm also really into Gestalt work. So I do believe that my dream life is aspects of self.
Yeah.
They are, it is places where if that person is running, chasing me, it's something that I want to look at, and I really embrace those pieces, and then I invite them in. What helped me in that moment was really to accept that I was the creator of the whole victim triangle in that place, like in that space. I was all of the pieces.
Right.
And to find compassion in that, in my dream even.
Yeah.
And even currently, I don't have nightmares very often. But I'm a very vivid dreamer. Like this morning I woke up to a dream of just like, I have a lot of comedy in my life. So
really?
My dream was
so fabulous.
Oh yeah, I woke up and I was just like, oh my gosh, we were naming this motorhome.
That's cool. That's powerful. What did you name it?
Yeah.
Uh-oh, did we
No, I'm like, oh, so in my dream, I named this motorhome home, like ho plus ohm. Yeah, I know. This is where
that's actually genius.
Emphasis on ho, by the way.
That's great. Oh,
Yeah.
If this home's a rockin', don't bother knocking.
Oh my gosh, awesome.
That's hilarious. I woke up from a dream once where I was naming my
I love
niece
that you have
before she was
comedy.
born. What's that, Dawn?
I said, I love that you have comedy in your dreams. That's incredibly great.
Oh yeah, they're all over the board. I have a very active, fun, enjoyable dream life.
I think it's really powerful when you name something in a dream. I feel like there's so much significance to that. I mean, it's like taking authority, being the author of something, being able to name it and put a label on it that you create. It's like a extension of your sovereignty to be able to do that. And then what that name is, it's like, it says so much. That's brilliant. I had a dream where before my niece was born, we were all trying to figure out what her name was going to be. And in my dream, I had this aha. I'm like, I know what her name is. It's Taco. And I thought it was the most hilarious thing in my dream. In waking life, it's like, okay, Kelly, good for you. But I was crying. I was cracking up. And I still haven't been able to interpret what that was about, other than I like tacos. And,
What did her name turn out to be, though? Like, really, though?
She who's now a he, isn't that fond of talking. So I'm not exactly sure. Maybe it was just the joy of being able to name somebody. And you know what? Sometimes I'm the worst at interpreting my own dreams. It's a lot easier to do it for other people. Normally I'm able to do it, but maybe this is now on my list to work on. Maybe this will help me in my relationship with him.
I'd really like to invite any of our viewers to share to type out some dreams. Kelly has offered to look at those as we go through this, next part of the show. And we're also going to start talking about some of our dreams too. I want to share one that just came up because I had one that I wanted to share earlier. But, the one that has sat with me for a while. When I was young, my parents sent me to church camp. And I had this really amazing babysitter. She was really great, but she talked to me about the rapture. And it was fucking terrifying. I was terrified as a little 7, 8, 9-year-old child. And the dream that I would have repeatedly, which was in Technicolor, it was very vivid, was a boy sitting on the edge, so it's like a wooden fence with like slots, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's facing out into the forest. So I walk across a field. He's sitting on one of the posts of a fence.
Mm-hmm.
And I go up to him and I tap him and he doesn't respond. And I pull him around so that I could see him, and he has X's on his eyes. I know. It was.
Oh, wow.
That one has literally stuck with me, like very deeply. And
wow.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, like, just off the bat, what is the X's on the eyes mean to you? What's your first association?
Well, I think that being so young, I was probably watching a lot of cartoons. So X's on the eyes meant death. And right, there was this place where, so what I made it mean is,
yeah, let's hear that.
What that child magical thinking place made that mean was that during rapture, people would just freeze. Like during the coming of Christ, people would just die if they were impure.
Oh,
yeah. And this young man looking at the forest. I mean, if I want to look at it now,
yeah,
it looks different to me, because
what does it look like to you now?
I've looked at the magical, or what it looks like to me now is that there's places of, it's a death rebirth cycle. That the X's on the eyes, yes, signifies an aspect of a death of a little boy, right? A masculine side of me. And because I walk over to it, and it's really about the feeling that I have when I see that boy, like it's not really I'm like looking for him. I'm going towards that person and finding this being that's dead, that it's part of me. And just being able to like hold that space.
Right. Oh,
Yeah.
that's beautiful. So may I share with you all, gosh, I'm sorry about this thing that's on there's like this crystal on my window that I know is causing it. And I know it's got gypsies like thing. So I'm just going to keep trying to move. But can I teach you guys my jet set dream reflection formula?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay. So the J is for just the facts, ma'am. And you just did that, Trish, like kind of sharing what happens in the dream. And then the E is for what's the emotion, what's the feeling of it. And you expressed that. I mean, that was like a terrifying at the time. And now not so much. Like now there's more of a coming to peace with that. Is there anything else that you would say about the emotion or energy of that dream?
Now or then?
Now. Well, but actually then both.
I just remember being really afraid when I was young.
Being really afraid.
I was really afraid.
Okay.
But if I'm looking at it from a place of these are all aspects of self,
Yeah.
like I'm coming at it from a younger Trish version of myself and looking at the aspects of self.
Yeah. But that's totally valid. That's great. Okay, so the T is for the title. I always suggest that we give our dreams a title. I think the title sometimes can give us a lot of information about what the dream is trying to help us with. So what would your dream title be?
Oh gosh, I don't know.
Could be just the first thing that pops into your mind as a way of remembering this dream.
Well, rapture is the
Rapture.
Yeah.
That's perfect. Oh, and this is funny. My chair's doing the thing where it goes down. This is the comedy. This is the comic relief where my little chair goes down. I'm shrinking. Honey, I shrunk the Kelly. Okay. Oh my God. Okay, so the T, so that's the T. Then the set, the next part of it is the main symbols that stand out. So to you, what are the symbols that are the most stand out in this dream?
The fence forest boy.
Fence forest boy.
And X's.
Yeah, fence forest boy. Okay, and then the next E is for enlighten. I believe every dream is trying to enlighten us, trying to edify us, trying to make us better. It's operating on behalf of our wholeness and our health. So it's trying to give us something. So now, I mean, you've already kind of talked about how you think your dream is, like what the gift is it's trying to give you. But if you could put it in a nutshell, how is this dream trying to enlighten you?
I believe that at that moment, it was helping me cope with loss or like, death.
Yeah.
Helping me try to like process what that looks like.
Ooh, right. Absolutely. Okay, great. Anything else?
Now I see it as an integration of pieces.
Yeah. Okay. So the last piece is what's your takeaway? I believe that every dream requires some form of action in our waking life. So we'll get to that in a second, unless there's something that pops for you. If it were my dream, if you're open, I'd love to weigh in a little about what I'm getting. Okay. So I agree with everything that you said. I mean, it's everyone in the dream is an aspect of self, and this is the young boy aspect of self. And to me, the young boy aspect is the adventurous part, is the part that's dynamic and risk taking, and it may be, and I'm putting myself in your shoes because I feel like if it were my dream, I am you, and I was brought up in a religious way, and when I was 7 or 8 years old, I went to catechism and learned about hell and learned about things that were absolutely terrifying and frightening, and had lots of dreams about those. So this is my dream. So I think there's some part about the adventurous part of self that the religion is trying to curb. It's trying to like say bad, naughty, don't cross the fence. Don't jump the fence. Don't venture out beyond, because you'll die. Something really, not just die, but something horrible will happen to you. So there's so to me, it feels like there may be some death. To me is transformation. So some transformation regarding the boy aspect of myself, and maybe my relationship to the tomboy part of me that maybe I thought it was naughty, and maybe it's not. Maybe I'm like, there's a healing that's coming through the dying of something. But to me, there's something really fascinating about the X's over the eyes. To me, the eyes represent how we see, how we intuit, and to have the physical eyes be blocked out feels like there's perhaps like in the transformation of myself in this dream, there's an ability to ultimately see with my inner eyes and not with the outer eyes that relates to all of the stuff that I'm being conditioned to believe. So to me, the fence is this borderline of like where I'm comfortable, where I'm familiar, and this other place that I'm maybe afraid to venture, but I'm curious about it. So you said the boy, the fence, and what was the other part?
The forest.
The forest. Oh my God. So if it's my dream, the forest is always a really powerful symbol. It represents like the natural self, the part of self that is completely attuned, and even we could say pagan, the part that doesn't conform to the rules of man.
Not controlled by a boundary, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, I own this, right? Exactly. It's the part that grows naturally. So, ooh, that gives me the chills.
I kind of see it as like the X's across the eyes is like, once you cross that border and boundary, you're gonna have the sight.
Right.
As you were speaking, it occurred to me that as she had shared all this very religious, scary stuff, is when I started to be really afraid of life. Yeah. I started to be really afraid to just like, oh my gosh, if I don't be a good girl, then I will die. Like, and yeah, it was really transformative. And I spent a lot of time in the forest by myself. Like my parents, I would spend a lot of time like roaming around the forest, and that was a free place for me.
So, I want to play with the X first just a second. I've often said, like, when I'm like, I pick my battles when I'm talking to somebody who has beliefs that are different than mine, they're very religious about them, or very whatever it is. I'm not going to necessarily pick a fight with everybody who I don't believe we're not on the same wavelength, but sometimes I'll listen and I'll just say, oh, and imagine I'm putting a circle around it with like X's, like, oh, like I'm Xing out. Like, it's just not true for me. And I don't need to have a fight about it. I don't need to like teach them a lesson, but it's kind of like Xing it out. So an X is also kind of wordplay for X, like a former way of being.
Yes.
And like when we refer to an X, it's like, that X from way back then. It's like, this is old stuff.
I see that in my waking life, like when I'm witnessing people and they're really strong belief systems that I know don't resonate for me. I just say in my mind, cancel clear when I'm listening to them, so that I can still witness them. I can still witness them in their fullness, and it's not about shaming or wronging them, because that's their beliefs. They're allowed that. But if it's something that I know is not it might not resonate fully with me, all I have to do is say cancel clear inside, and then my being is not allowing that in as a belief that I'm taking on.
Right. I love the jazz hands, or the
it's a recognition that I'm enjoying that. Love Coach Academy has these little twinkles here.
Oh, that's cute.
Acknowledgement of something that I'm feeling, that I'm feeling from you, and I'm like, oh, I'm acknowledging you.
That's cool,
because we're now creating ways to communicate through a screen, right?
I love it.
So it's like without having to verbally talk over you.
That's beautiful. when I've done sweat lodges, one of the things that I've learned is when somebody says something that I agree with, that they say make a heart sound that's aho, aho. And so a lot of times in my circles, people will just be like, aho. And I say, and you're not calling each other a ho necessarily, although, why not if the shoe fits, if the stiletto fits. But I like that you had the ho. And anyway.
It's a term for some of us.
What's that?
Ho. Oh.
Let's own it. Let's own it. So I don't know if there's going to be time, but I would love to share the 5 steps to this thing that I've been playing with lately that relates to the Awakened Dreamer Oracle cards that I have that just came out, and these 5 steps to Awakened Dreamer. Is that, I don't know.
We'll have time. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I'd also do. I want to share a dream too. So
yay, Dawn. Yeah. You've been so good. Let's do Dawn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You want to share the 5 steps and then we can go. Okay. All right. So the dream I wanted to share was really about my dad. Like my dad passed away a year ago, December 1st. And so he didn't really come to me very much through the year. And like 2 days after December 1st, this month, December, I had a really clear dream. It was my mom and my brother and myself and my dad. And it's like I was watching my dad, they were all in a row kind of in front of me. And my mom and they were going through images or pictures, and it's like they were talking about me, but I was in the room. And they were like, yes, she had conflict here. It was like they were going over my life or something, but they were talking about, like, I don't remember exactly what was said because the dream wasn't yesterday, but it was specifically about me. And there was this man standing in between my dad and I, but it was like the back of him. I couldn't see his face. I didn't know who he was. I could see the back of his head. But weirdly enough, there was a cup of wine on the man's shoulder like this.
Ooh, that's cool.
And so I took it to mean like my dad and my mom were kind of like discussing like how much I had graduated. Like graduated from the hard difficulties, right? Because my relationship with him was very, very, very difficult, like abusive relationship. Like I like broke through a lot of spiritual curriculum. Like it took me a long time to unravel it all. And like by the end of me going through graduate school and completing he was my relationship project in graduate school, and I completed that with him. And literally, as I was completing it, the week I was in graduate school, the finishing final week of a 2-year program, he was going into the hospital to die. And then passed like by the end of the year. And so the cup of the wine kind of was symbolic to me of like, hey, we can celebrate. You've accomplished, I've accomplished. Even though I had to die to move on to accomplished, we've accomplished.
Wow. Oh.
And it was like, I'm celebrating. I'm able to celebrate with you even in death. Like that's how I saw it.
Oh, that's great. That's beautiful. So it was cutting out a little bit, but I think I mostly got that. So in your dream, your mom, your dad, your brother are all together, and they're looking at pictures, and they're kind of talking about you in the third person as if you're not there, even though you are there. And they're kind of, it seems like taking your inventory, like, oh, this is where she had, this is like maybe where she still needs to grow, or this is where she did grow, or was it?
Yeah.
Kind of like that. And then all of a sudden you're seeing your dad's back.
No. I saw my dad. I was facing my dad. I could see my dad, but there was a man in between us.
Oh, the man in between. Right.
With a cup of wine on the man's shoulder.
The man in between with the wine on his shoulder. Ooh, that is so interesting. Okay. I love it when there's kind of bizarre, they always catch my attention. And that's part of what I teach people when they're doing dream interpretation, is to look for the things that are just like,
it's super bizarre. Like that people don't stand with a cup of wine on their shoulder ever.
Which to me, it means that this particular part of the dream requires extra exploration because it's like dream language for drill here. There's something here. So let's do the jet set where it's kind of like bada bing, bada boom. So you just did the just the facts, ma'am, and the energy or the let me see, the energy, the emotion of the dream. You said that you felt like, how did you feel in the dream?
It felt good. It felt like accomplishment or graduation or even though they were talking about my life.
How did you feel about that?
It didn't feel weird. It felt like those are the facts. It's true.
Oh, you cut out a little, so I couldn't exactly hear what you said.
I said it felt like, yeah, those are the facts, that those things did happen. I did struggle through those things, and now I'm on the other side of it. Like,
okay, very cool. All right. So the title of this dream, what would you call this dream?
It just, I want to say my dad, because my dad's gone, and like life with my dad. Yeah.
Life with my dad. Okay, great. And then the symbols that stand out, we know for sure the wine on the shoulder.
Yeah.
And is there anything else that is particularly standout-ish for you?
Interestingly enough, I just hit me in this conversation with you that the man is probably my grandfather.
I love it. I love it. Yay.
I didn't realize that. And sorry for our technical difficulties today.
Hey, it's all good, and I don't know if it's happening on my end or whatever, but I'm just so happy. I think it's working well enough. We can figure it out. We have to just like work our intuition muscles to read between the lines. But what I think I heard you say is that you think it was your grandfather.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow. And so what is it about him? What comes to your mind? Give me 3 adjectives that describe your grandfather to you.
3 adjectives. It's super hard worker, deeply caring, and he had a very tough. He was very tough on everybody, tough on my dad.
Okay. What do you think his opinion, like if he was gonna?
What do you think the opinion is? I think it was basically the symbolic of like, hey, you both did your work here, because it's been a repeating family pattern that's been going on even after my dad's death, of like how everything unraveled. And repeating family pattern.
And the shoulder, I mean, that's an interesting symbol. Why do you think the wine was on his shoulder? What's the first thing that comes to you when you think of like, the shoulder, his shoulder, his shoulder?
You don't have to shoulder it anymore. Whoa. Oh my God, that is so. Wow. Ooh, wow. Wow.
Gorgeous.
Oh my God. Such completion.
Wow.
Thank you.
Oh God, what a beautiful, thank you. Thank you for being open to that. I could feel that.
Wow, I'm so grateful to have this conversation, because I sat with it and it didn't really come to me, but like the fact that we're having this conversation really initiated like the greater piece to like lock in the key.
Yeah, it's always like that with dreams. We can do a lot on our own, but to share it with people who have the eyes and ears and the heart to hear, it's like there's more that comes. So I think you just answered the question. The next piece is about how is this dream trying to enlighten you?
Yeah.
And that's a piece. Oh, the last piece for you, my sweetie. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Oh, is the T for take it to the streets. What will you do with this? How will you, if there's anything that's in the physical realm that you can translate the energy of this dream into, what will you do?
Well, the gold for me is like, this is weaved into the work I do with others, is to really help them dive deep into their spiritual curriculum with their family, with their trauma, and like mine the gold and complete it so that you can lay it down for good.
That's
Like,
great.
that's what I do in my work with all my clients. And like, you know, I even formed my business name is around that, Spark Your Inner Gold, because it's really about, let's dive deep into what has been blocking you and look at it all and help you complete it in this lifetime. That's what Ascension is about. Let's complete what we came here for.
Yeah.
Lean in wild compassion towards ourselves.
That's great. I just want to, if it were my dream, I want to add that, because sometimes I think there's something fun about the kind of the play of dreams, to do something that is very, very much like playing with the symbols that were in the dream. Like, for example, if it were my dream, I'd say, I'm going to have a glass of wine and I'm going to dedicate it to grandpa, and I'm going to dedicate it to my dad. And I'm going to imagine that they're there, maybe even get 3 glasses out and do like a cheers and like some kind of, so that there's, I think the dreams speak.
That's so beautiful. I'm so going to do this.
It's like, it just brings the physical piece in, because dreams and the metaphysics can be kind of sometimes so up here in the higher realms, which is fabulous. And where I get excited is about like how we can integrate the density of the body and have that be part of like kind of the cherry on top. And I think there's something about when we take one step toward the dream maker, like by demonstrating, we're listening, it takes 100 steps toward us. So it's like there's more even begins to show up. So that's beautiful. And Trish, we didn't get to your tea, what your takeaway is going to be. So I don't want to cut Dawn off, but I want to make sure that we get to your tea.
Well, let's stay with Dawn for a moment.
So just know that that's a dangling participle here. We need to get to that at some point.
We're both completing here. Like yes.
But so thank you. And what a perfect time. It's like right around the new year. I mean, the year anniversary of your father passing and coming into the new year, and to have that off your shoulder. So if you ever feel yourself like clenching up, I mean, if it were my dream, I'd notice. I'll also, actually get sometimes tight in my shoulders. I'll imagine visually, I'm going to put wine on there instead. Put the spirits on there, wine and spirits. It's like put spirit on my shoulder. There was a woman, for some reason I'm thinking of this. It's odd. It might not make sense initially, but in her dream, she was being told to walk backwards. And so she was walking backwards in her dream, and she woke up and said, okay, well, I'm going to just do what my dream told me to do. I'm going to kind of reenact my dream. And she started walking backwards, and all of a sudden her back pain that she had had chronically for so long went away. And she found out that there was like actually some kind of science behind this crazy thing that her dream gave her. So I'm telling you this just because I think there's something about when we feel that we're like, because old habits die hard, there might be, a tendency to clench again and to like, be like, okay, I got to do this from that. I'm going to shoulder it all. It's like, no, I'm putting a glass on that. Like, even, I don't know, imagine what that would be like to have it on there, have that become something that you do. And I'm going to borrow that, because I believe every dream that's shared is for all of us. There's a reason that you shared this for you, but I think Trish and I and everyone watching and or listening, there's something here for them as well. So I'm going to imagine when I notice my shoulders doing this, that I'm putting a glass of wine on.
We don't have to shoulder taking 2020 and the pandemic into the new year, that it can shift.
Cheers to that.
For all of us. We don't have to shoulder it.
Yeah. Don't have to shoulder it.
Wow.
We can put spirit on that shoulder instead.
Yes. We're going to carry spirit on our shoulder always. That's powerful.
Hallelujah. Beautiful. Thank you, Dawn. That was gorgeous. I love dreams for this. I feel so drunk. I feel like it's like that Rumi quote. Do you know the Rumi quote? I'm so drunk, I can't find my way in or out. I've lost the sun and the moon. Please don't pour another drop in my cup. Pour it down my mouth.
Oh, gorgeous.
So, that's the quote for this dream.
I love Rumi so much. Thank you for bringing that forward.
There's always room for Rumi, I think.
What was your takeaway, Trish? I want to know.
Or how might you honor that dream in the physical world?
Oh yeah. Well, as I've been sitting with it, it really feels that I took on a lot of another person's belief system in that moment. And that my wildness, my wild self, the young girl that played in the forest, like I'm just remembering that I don't have to be afraid of my wild self. It's boundless. Yeah.
Boundless.
It's a forest out there and I'm going to go play.
Is there any fence that you're sitting on that you might jump off? Is there anything that represents that fence? Because even though that dream was from a while ago, I think anytime we talk about a dream, those symbols are still active. Just curious about what you might be on the fence about.
What
a great question.
Little boy is on the fence about.
Yeah.
I want to sit with that. I don't know.
Yeah. Good. So if it were my dream, I might also, do you live anywhere there's trees? I get the feeling that you do. Okay. So can you physically do something like that even today? Like where you're like high trees and bring your little boy self with you?
I could even sit on a fence and jump off and run into the forest.
That would be great. That would be great. And like, even like, play with seeing it with new eyes and, seeing what else you notice.
I love that. And I'll do that.
Thank you. Cool.
It's so good.
So I don't know if there's time. Oh my gosh, it's almost an hour. Time. There is?
Yeah.
Through it.
So should I share with you the 5 steps to being an awakened dreamer?
Does anyone else want to hear the 5 steps? Type it in if you want to.
Me type it in?
No, we're actually talking to people who are watching.
Okay.
We know that our friends are watching. We know that there's people on YouTube and Facebook and where this is being, offered. And we always just like to say hi to
hi.
I also put in the links to find you.
Oh, thank you.
And also your free snooze meditation for sweeter dreams for all of the viewers to be able to jump on that and enjoy sweeter dreams. Yeah.
People tend to, especially, getting a good night's sleep. It's hard to dream if you're not sleeping. So that this meditation kind of covers all of that. There's actually 21 meditations. I give the first one away for free. But I've connected with a company that sells this amazing tea that you drink before you go to sleep that's got cannabis in it. And it's beautiful. And it just really helps to relax you and get you in a great space. So anyway, these meditations all come together, and that's all part of what they get when they go to my website. Awesome. Yeah, I love this. Okay. So the 5 stages, I'll just kind of roll through them relatively quickly and check in with you guys as we go. So the first one,
I would say take your time. We don't
okay.
We are our own timeline.
Okay. So to me, the whole purpose of paying attention to dreams and having conversations like this, it's about awakening. It's about being a human being that is as awake as we can possibly be. So think about your fingers. There's 5 of them. And each one of your fingers represents one of these steps. So the first one is about remembering that you are at one with the one, or at one with the sun, however you want to say it. So as that relates to dreams, we talked about how everyone in your dream is an aspect of you. There's really no other, even if it's a different gender, or if it's an animal, or if it's it's not it could be any kind of a thing. It's like, it's all an aspect of self. So as we go about our waking lives, knowing that we're dreaming all the time, we're dreaming right now. When we when we can stop and remember, oh yeah, I'm dreaming. How do I get into that awakened dreamer self? You start with, remember that you're at one with the one, at one with the whole of life. So it starts with oneness. So are you guys with me so far? Go on to the next.
Yes.
Okay, so the next one is the number 2. So it's to have some peace while you're dealing with duality. We're in this third dimensional world that is about duality. And we could say that every challenge, every problem we encounter in our waking lives and in our dreams is a function of our perspective that we are living in a dualistic world, that there is a you and there is a me, there is a they and a them and a then. So when we remember that life isn't happening to us, but it's happening for us, then at least we're aware that we picked this, we chose this dimension that we're in, and we came here to learn via contrast that we are in a unified field, but we can only understand what a unified field is if we understand duality. So having some peace with our duality. So we could say that both of these dreams that you've both shared with us, in some way, there's kind of a moving through duality back into oneness. I almost can look at any dream from that perspective. All right, so that's the 2, having peace with duality. And then the 3 is about trying to be aware of the 3, being aware of the magic of 3s. When things happen 3 times, to have this lucid awareness, like this is the universe trying to get my attention. If we have a recurring dream that happens 3 times, or if something shows up, like even in Dawn's dream, there was the mom, the dad, and the brother at first. So there's a 3. So we could say that there's transformation afoot whenever a 3 shows up. So that's in our waking life. It's like, when things happen in 3s, we can say, okay, this is the universe trying to tap on my shoulder, trying to wake me up so I can be more awake as I'm having this dream. Also, there's the notion of triangulation as it relates to goal setting, because I know we're coming into a new year. A lot of people are thinking about setting goals. So triangulation is a nautical term, and for sailors out on the sea. So imagine that there you are in your little boat out at sea, and you're wanting to find the buried treasure. You're wanting to find dry land, and there's this intent to get to the treasure. So there's you, and then there's the treasure. And often, whenever we have a goal that we're trying to seek, at least this is my experience, we tend to often push it away because we're in this place of wanting. When we notice that, we can say, oh yeah, let's try to get into the triangulation. Let's bring in the 3rd. Let's bring in that higher 3rd, like connecting with the North Star. When you're connecting, like say you're out on your boat and you're wanting to find the buried treasure, connect to the North Star that gives you a sense of placement about where you're at in relation to that goal, and also the best way to navigate your way there. So in other words, how does this relate practically? As we're setting our goals for the new year and asking our dreams to help us with those, we can ask the question, instead of what do I want, we can say, universe, what do you want from me? What is the best use of me? And ask those questions, ideally anytime, but ideally right before you go to bed. The moments bookending sleep are the best, most rich times to manifest, or I say dreamifest, those things that we're desiring. We pass the baton over to our subconscious mind, and our dreams can help us really expedite the process of how we get from where we are to that buried treasure. Okay, so that's a lot in the 3. Then the 4 is fortune favors fullness. Fortune favors fullness. So in numerology, the 4 represents foundation, kind of the groundedness, and a sense of place, a sense of being held. So imagine and I know this for myself, I feel like this is one of my big lessons to learn in this life is to imagine what the heart is longing for, like to say, what is it that I really want? And to have that list kind of pop out, that's fine. But to stay in a place of longing is to push it away. But when I think, okay, I want all these things, but let me remember how full I already am. Let me get into a place of fullness and feeling so drop to my knees, grateful for what I already have and how much is already working for me. And one, like this is a little personal, but I'll kind of, here we go. I'll tell you about. So
vulnerability.
there's an exciting thing. There's a television production company that I've been working with, and I've worked with a bunch of different production companies on different television show ideas that relate to dreams. And I'm working with one right now that I just love. They're so great. And we have the attention of a couple really big networks, like dream networks. And I'm even getting like heart palpitations just even thinking about it. So there's normally
Yes.
Thank you. And in my normal world, before like this moment, I would say, don't jinx it. Don't talk about it until it's a green light. But because I've been doing this for so long and there's been so many like close but no cigars, I feel like if I never talk about this, I can never talk about how exciting it is to even be at the place where I'm like even having these meetings with networks. Like it's exciting to just be here. And so of course, this is one of my goals. Like, wouldn't it be great to have a television show that is about this work and to be able to share this with the masses? But my little switch in perspective is, but I'm not coming at this from a place of I'm empty and getting a green light would then make me whole. It's like, no. I'm full and I'm a dispenser of gifts. I want to have a place to share my gifts, to overflow. And that feels like the switch. So no matter what happens, I'm already full. It can't make me more full. I'm already whole. Like that saying in the Bible, you can't add one cubit. What, Dawn?
Overflowing.
Overflowing. Yes, overflowing. In fact, that's my word for the new year. Every year I have a word, and that is, so you just tapped into it. It's over.
Yes.
So it's just a joy to have a place to give. Like it's a joy to get to be with you all today. I'm not coming into this interview like, what are they going to give me? My precious. Like I'm empty, fill me up. It's like, there's these gifts that are coming through and it's like, I need a place to share them. That's what I need, is a place to like, to overflow.
I've been working with my clients with this actually, and I'm reminding them to like visualize themselves. And all your visualizations are the bees coming to gather the honey, right? And like it's just this vortex of juicy, delicious, overflowing, delicious golden nectar of honey. Like it's
yum. That's beautiful.
Yeah,
I love that.
I visualize it like that for myself, like just oozing golden honey. Like I'm enough, and like everything is just delicious and golden honey pot.
Ooh, queen bee.
Queen bee.
Yeah, nice. Oh, that's great.
I hope that's a good takeaway for everyone. Like infuse that into your meditations, this overflowing golden honey.
I love that. That just adds a whole other way of meaning of when I say honey. Oh, honey.
Yes.
Oh, I love it.
Yes.
Okay, so then the fifth is, to me, the 5 is about the fifth dimension. It's about like all of this is about being here, like heaven on earth, being in the third dimension, but being also in this higher dimension at the same time. Because when we get into the fifth dimension, some of the characteristics of the fifth dimension are we feel connected to each other. We feel whole. We feel like everything's buzzing, everything's beautiful, no matter what's going on, even in a pandemic, even like when things might not seem to be going our way according to our script, we can still be high. We can still be in love. Like that's possible. So to me, that's the goal. And how to get to that fifth dimension is by practicing these previous 4 steps, but also a couple of tricks to getting in the fifth dimension from my perspective is to imagine that we're being 5 years old. The 5-year-old aspect of us, no matter, some of us had some pretty shitty childhoods. Some of us had shitty moments, but I would say even the people I know that had the worst childhoods, there were moments in their 5-year-old self that were pure magic, where there was like like that little girl, or the little boy, the little girl self on the fence that just wants to run off into the forest. There was an avocado tree in my grandma's backyard, and that avocado tree was a spaceship. And my sisters and my cousin and I, we would like ride that spaceship and through outer space. I mean, it's just a friggin' tree. And yet it was the perfect tree that we could all sit on. And I mean, there were so many things that we would do that were just, I remember some older cousin of mine saying to my little sister and I, God, it doesn't take much to get you guys excited. I'm like, no, it doesn't. Like, it's just fun to just be. Oh my God. So remembering what it was like to be 5, and not just for ourselves, but even when it comes to relating to others. So for anyone who is having some relationship challenges, whether maybe you're not in one and you want to be in one, or you're with somebody and you're like, they're kind of being a jerk. Imagine their 5-year-old self, or imagine the 5-year-old self of the person that you want to attract. There's something, I feel like it's just a quick way through the maze of the ego to just get to the 5-year-old self. There's so much magic there that elevates us. And then the last piece of that is, years ago, I had a dream. I was in a relationship with someone that was kind of And in my dream, a voice told me very loud and clear, see things 5 times more. So in my dream, that made sense. In my dream, I was walking around my life looking at all the ordinary things like my car, my house, my body, and I was seeing it through the lens of it being 5 times better than it was. So it's like my body, I was like, oh, damn, I look good. Oh my God, my car. Whoa. And my bathroom, my kitchen, my shower, my bank account, like everything was just like, oh my God. And then I looked at the guy I was with and it was like, oh, wow, like he's amazing. There's such a feeling of abundance, such a feeling of way more than enough. And then the voice popped in my head in the dream and said, this is right seeing. This isn't exaggerated. This is you finally, it's about time being tapped into how things actually are.
Yes.
So there you go. That's my 5 steps to being an awakened dreamer. And that kind of relates to my little new oracle deck that's out. And I'd love to pull one for you guys if you want. Yeah? You want? Okay. So here's the box. And I need to send these to you guys. So if you want, send me your address and later we can do this again. And, I want you to have them. So Awakened Dreamer Oracle. The artist is Rasuli, my favorite artist of all time. And these are they're little cards. So they're not like, and the message is on the cards themselves. So that doesn't come with a guidebook. So I'm going to shuffle and you guys tell me when to stop. Which one to,
okay.
So whenever you feel it, just say the word, say stop.
Trish, feel it. Feel it out for us.
Now.
Right hand or left hand?
Left.
Okay. So I picked 2 because one just fell out of the deck and I always feel like that's a sign. So here we go. Here's our message for the completion of the new year, of the old year and coming into the new year and putting a glass of wine on our shoulders. Okay. The nectar of now. Stop and drop into the marrow of the moment, the nectar of now, where all your multiple simultaneous lifetimes converge. Laser beam the wisdom you've accrued over millennia into the circumstances you are blessed to face with grace today. The nectar of the now. And the other one is the one that fell out is the river of bliss. Running just beneath the drama on the surface is a river of never-ending bliss. Consider this your permission slip to dip your toes or dive in headfirst into the sacred swirl that leads you back to the shore of your joyous nature. Nectar of now and river of bliss. There you go.
Can you actually show them?
Yeah.
Yes.
Nectar of now. Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
And river of bliss.
Mm.
And just for the sake of 3, here's one that just flipped over. So this will be the sacred third. This is love the ones you're with.
I love it.
And this one says, as if this were your last day on earth, give 100% of your gifts to the project or person in front of you right now. Stop waiting to exhale. Though your circumstances may not be perfect, consider this to be permission to give all the love you've got to the ones you're with.
Oh,
Mm.
it's so good. Oh, yay. So good.
Thank you so much for your time and your love and your attention, Miss Kelly.
Thank you both so much. This has been such a joy to be with you. What a wonderful way to end 2020 and to get ready for 2021. And I'll never forget this interview. I'll never forget this time with you both. Thank you.
Oh, so precious and sacred. I just honor you so much, and like the work you do in the world is so important. And I know that you change many, many lives by what you do, and just really honored to know you and be your sister. And thank you for saying yes to this. This has been so delicious.
Thank you. Thank you, Dawn, and thank you, Trish. I so feel a sisterly bond with you both, and thank you for the beautiful work you're putting in the world, and your vulnerability and your strength and your power and the messages that you share. May they multiply and touch the entire world.
Oh, thank you so much. We just love our viewers and love this time on the planet, right? Everyone out there so that their souls lift and elevate through whatever curriculum that has been on their heart that they're working through, that they elevate their consciousness through it and shift to a whole new dimension in their lives, you know, and that the tools we all share and every person that's on the show in the year coming, that it's just all a place of elevating, you know, spirit's will to be done.
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
Amen. A woman, a dreams.
See you next week.
Yes. Happy New Year to everyone. 2021. Here we come.
Woo-hoo!
And happy birthday, Mom.
Aww.
Happy birthday, Mom.
It's my mom's birthday today.
Oh,
love you, Mama. And mine's on the 2nd.
Oh my God. Happy birthday, Dawn. Wow. A New Year's baby. What a blessing. Happy birthday.
It is. Thank you. I'm excited.